भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। We are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 13 and text number 20. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Viddhi Anadi Ubhau Api Vikaran Cha Gunan Cha Eva Viddhi Prakriti Sambhavan Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Viddhi Prakriti Sambhavan Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Viddhi Prakriti Sambhavan Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Viddhi Prakriti Sambhavan Mothers. Prakritim, material nature. Purusham, the living entities. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Viddhi, you must know. Anadi, without beginning. Ubhau, both. Api, also. Vikaran, transformations. Cha, also. Gunan, the three modes of nature. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Viddhi, no. Prakriti, material nature. Sambhavan, produced of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are product of material nature. By the knowledge given in this chapter, one can understand the body, means the field of activities, and the knowers of the body, both the individual soul and the super soul. The body is the field of activity and is composed of material nature. The individual soul is the embodied and living and enjoying the activities of the body, is a Purusha, or the living entity. He is one knower and the other is the super soul. Of course, it is to be understood that both the super soul and individual entity are different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity is the energy of is in the category of his energy, and the super soul is in the category of his personal expansion. Both material nature and the living entity are eternal. That is to say, they existed before the creation. The material manifestation is from the energy of the Supreme Lord, and so also are the living entities. But the living entities are of superior energy. Both the living entities and material nature existed before this cosmos was manifested. Material nature was absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, and when it was required, it was manifested by the energy or agency of the Mahatattva. Similarly, living entities are also in him, and because they are conditioned, they are averse to serving the Supreme Lord. Thus, they are not allowed to enter into the spiritual sky. But with the coming forth of material nature, these living entities are again given chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world. That is the mystery of material creation. Actually, the living entity is originally the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but due to his rebellious nature, he is conditioned within material nature. It really does not matter how these living entities or superior entities of the Supreme Lord have come in contact with the material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knows, however, how and why this actually took place. In the scriptures, the Lord says that those attracted by this material nature are undergoing a hard struggle for existence. But we should know it with certainty from these descriptions of these few verses that all transformations and the influences of material nature by the three modes are also production of the material nature. All transformations and varieties in respect to living entities are due to the body. As far as spirit is concerned, living entities are all the same. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshul Militan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantigam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapad Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Shri Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विद्यनादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्। Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of the material nature. The process of the creation has been described in Srimad Bhagavatam in detail, how the Purusha and Prakriti comes together. Even though both are said to be anadi, beginningless, yet their coming and going nature is a continual process. And Krishna becomes the cause of all causes, even to create this material nature, even though the original form of material nature called Pradhan Prakriti is intact within him, and yet it was not manifested. But when there was a need to manifest it, because the jivas wanted to be manifested. They are so rebellious. Prabhupada said the living entities are rebellious, even though they are constituted by the superior energy of the Lord, internal potency of the Lord. If we see the rebellious nature is inherited from Lord Krishna. Krishna is independent. And he wants to fulfill his desire by hook or crook. Whatever impediment comes in his way, he will wipe out. I mean, he is such an autocratic Supreme Personality of Godhead. Autocratic. And just opposite to an autocratic nature is a rebellious nature. One who does not want to obey the autocratic Supreme Personality of Godhead. An element of opposition is an enviousness. And that becomes the root cause of their eternal separation. Even though they are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the jivas, the living entities, rebellious nature makes them an eternally separated part and parcel. So, there is nothing else, even though they are inclusive within the Lord Himself, yet they forget and they become rebellious. And they want to be away from the Lord. And they cannot get away from the Lord. So confinement is there. And if you see, if we are packed up in a room and cannot get away out of the room, we will try so many things. So in this way, so many different kinds of desires emerge out as Purusha, the enjoyer, as a competitor of the Lord. A rebellious soul will be given that many chances in different species of life to manifest within the jurisdiction of Prakriti. Now, Prakriti and the living entity, they are eternally inclusive within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like Krishna says that the absolute truth, once you know, you will be completely free from all the doubts, and you will never become bewildered again, Arjun. Your bewilderment will go as soon as you realize that etanya bhutanya asheshani drakshas atmanyathomai. All these living entities, asheshani, without any exception, means all the rebellious souls who have been separated, there is no exception. They have been separated and they are eternally separated, but they are still within the jurisdiction of the Lord. So, etanya bhutanya asheshani drakshas atmanyatho mai. You will see that they are in me. They are not out of me. They are in me. They are mine. Yatha mai. They are of my nature and they cannot go out. So, drakshas atmanyatho mai. This is all the living entities are but part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are within Him and they are His. A part and parcel cannot be separated by any means. But to give them education or given a chance to rectify their mistake of rebellious nature, they are given opportunity to play the part of Purusha within the Prakriti. Now, Prakriti is also been manifested, stays for some time and will dissolve. Hetunanena kaunte jagat viparivartane maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. There is no cause beside Krishna that why she is sruyate chara achara. The moving and non-moving entities, living entities are being produced by this Prakriti as the transformation, vikaranscha. And who are responsible? The three modes of material nature. But prior to that, Prakriti was existing and it was within me. That is called Pradhan. Pradhan means the most principal primordial energy. When she was not manifested, she was remaining with me, and I also separated it out to manifest and to put the rebellious soul within her jurisdiction. So first, Mahavishnu, the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. The Karana was to manifest and provide them opportunity to become manifest, to fulfill their Purusha Vritti. Purusha Vritti means enjoying, lording it over. The living entity are part and parcel, so they are inheritance of the, not the potency of the Lord, but the property of the Lord. But they want to usurp without qualification. Rebellious soul, they want to take away. So they want to grab whatever they can muster around. So, Purusha and Prakriti, two entities are there. Paramatma is accompanying both the Purusha as well as Prakriti. Prakriti is made up of inferior energy of the Lord, and it is separated. Now, those who are rebellious souls, even though they are constitutionally part and parcel of the internal potential, superior energy of the Lord, but yet because of rebellious nature, they will be given education by the Prakriti. So Purusha and Prakriti, they are situated. The whole body is Prakriti. And the living entities are residing in the body. And the same living entity which was creating an outright rebellion to play the part of Purusha will enjoy another living entities which are also succumb to the laws of material nature. They are also part of Prakriti. So the body is constituted by Prakriti. But the rebellious soul is, even though constituted in the internal potency of the Lord, yet he has been separated out. So, the verse is coming, Prakriti Purusha Prakriti Sthopi Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangasya Sadasadyoni Janmashmi. Just like Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita, the Hetu Nanena Kaunte Jagat Viparivartate. There is no other cause besides me. That why this material world is parivartan, means constantly changing. Constantly ups and downs are there, constantly moving, then non-moving situation comes. Completely opposite situation immediately arise. But it is Krishna's plan that nothing will be steady here. If it is steady, then the Purusha, the enjoyer or the rebellious living entity will be not educated. Therefore, for the education, the constant revolution is taking place. Rebelliousness is creating revolution. So Krishna is not ordinary revolutionary. He is the ultimate revolutionary. Rebellious nature. And Bible also says, my Lord is very jealous. He wants to execute his will. Others' jealousy do not sustain in front of him. You know? So Krishna's nature is to establish his supremacy, and all that belongs to him, means everything, Ishavashyam idam sarva, should be subservient and subordinate to him. And everything has to be remaining within his jurisdiction. Nothing can go out of the purview of the Supreme Personality of God. So in this way, even though they are eternal, there is no beginning, and it is eternal in nature. Yet, because there is a cause behind him to keep the revolution on, even though it is going to be temporary and changing constantly, it will give a glimpse of actual or reality, but it is still temporarily. So in this way, we can see Krishna remains the cause of all causes, and there is a purpose. What is the cause behind all other subordinate causes? The supreme cause is Krishna. Why he is doing this? Just to give education to the living entity to correct his rebelliousness and go back to God. So Prakriti is going to control him under the order of Krishna. Under my supervision, Krishna says, and Sruyate means produces, chara and achara. And it is parivartan means constantly changing. So this rule is there that material world will be constantly changing. Economy will be also constantly changing. There is no stability. However you try, stability is only in Krishna consciousness. Things come and go, but not according to your desire. It is according to Krishna's desire that they will come and they will go. So better obey. And this is all controlled by the manifested material nature, Prakriti. So, even though the other living entity called Paramatma, which is pervaded everywhere to control on behalf of the personality of Godhead, this living entity is the knower of all the fields because he is everywhere. Right? And he is Krishna's Swamsa, personal expansion. Personal expansions are completely in touch with the personality of Godhead. So devotees who are personalists, for them it is possible to become in touch with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. Those who are not devotees, they cannot remain in touch with Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. They cannot remain. Only the devotees. So, instead of remaining in touch with the super soul within, the devotees transcend and remain directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of God. And not only in touch, but also in loving relationship with Him. So, there is no jurisdiction of material nature there. This is the purpose of field of activity in order to go back home, back to Godhead. Not to play around with Prakriti or Mother Nature, but to acquire the lessons that she is giving and pushing us towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full cognizance, full knowledgeability. So, Vikaranscha gunanscha viddhi prakritim sambhavan. All the permutation and combinations of different desires of rebellious nature, they will be given opportunity in the Prakriti made up of three modes of material nature. The three modes of material nature become the mediating aspect of different combinations which will represent different desires. So, the living entity who is rebellious, he has an independent desire from Krishna, and that desire will be given an opportunity to get frustrated in the material world. So this vikara means the transformations is happening both in materially affected living entity and material Prakriti also. The modes of material nature are constantly in flux. Constant flux is there. And so the living entity is also coming under the effect of the three modes of material nature. So that is called vikaranscha gunanschaiva. Vikaranscha means the transformation, and the modes of matter are the product of material nature. They are the produced, material nature has been produced through, or material nature is responsible to work and through these three modes of material nature. Three modes of material. Maya hi yasya jagadanda satani sute traigunya tad vishaya VedaVyas. There is no exception in the material world. Prakriti, Maya, she is acting through the agency of the three modes of material nature equally everywhere in the entire cosmic manifestation. In cosmic manifestation, there is no spiritual planet. It is parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakta vyakta sanatana. Ya sarveshu vinashyati api na vinashyati. Everything which has been manifested in Prakriti, they will constantly change by the flux of modes of material nature. But that other nature, Krishna says, that beyond this material manifestation, there is a transcendental existence. It has no effect on the three modes of material nature. So that is the stable Prakriti. Here it is unstable, and there is a constant struggle for existence because there is no stability. So the education given by material nature is very important. That we can't keep the status quo. We have to change ourselves for good, not for worse. Change is required, and the change of consciousness is required. So Krishna consciousness is a very stable existence of the living entity, the topmost. So, is there any question or comment?
Here it says that individual soul that is embodied in enjoying the activity in the body is the Purusha or the living entity. Actually, what I understood, only Purusha is Krishna in the spiritual world, and how the living entity also becomes Purusha.
Yes.
Not
But it's a false enjoyer. But enjoying habit is there. It is inherited through the rebellious nature. Can't tolerate Krishna is the only enjoyer. I have the same quality. We are qualitatively one. If he is enjoyer, why not me? Even though a false enjoyer, but it's an enjoyer. A false enjoyer is an abuser. And actually, Prakriti is such that it is cheating him, the false enjoyer. He always gets a cheating experience. That is the lesson Prakriti is giving. The same was, Purusha Prakristhopi. He is situated in Prakriti, this false Purusha. He ends up Bhunkte Prakriti Janguna. Bhunkte means actual enjoyment is called Bhunkte. Prakriti Janguna. the three modes of material nature are, interacting with him. So, bhunkte prakriti jan guna. Suppose if he is in mode of goodness, he thinks he is happy, but it is temporary, right? Mode of passion, he is going to be very miserable. And mode of ignorance means completely unhappy. Right? This is called enjoyment. But is not that enjoyment a cheating experience? Otherwise, how come there is unhappiness, unsteady and fleeting enjoyment? Fleeting enjoyment. There is no enjoyment. Fleeting means cheating. The one which is going to cheat you. Sansruti, sansar, is an experience of fleeting enjoyment. That is not going to stay with you. Shruti means can easily pass through. Hold sand, and if you have holes, some gap between, it will all pass through without, and you can't hold it. That is called sansruti, sansar. Sansar is moving, hetunanena kaunte jagat viparivartate. This is parivartan. It is going to slip away from your hand. You can't hold it. Isn't it cheating experience? So that is a false Purusha, one who is being cheated. And Krishna enjoys. He is never being cheated by anybody. Everybody is subservient to the cause of his enjoyment. So Purusha prakriti sthopi bhungte prakriti jan guna. And karanam guna sangasya. This association is constantly with the three modes of material nature. And therefore, sat asat yonishu janmashu. He will get sat yoni, asat yoni, and he will keep on revolving. Isn't it good cheating? Where is he? Where is the question of liberation? Unless he takes a shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. So this is the education Mother Nature is going to give. Is the ultimate. One has to become free from the effects of the three modes of material nature. Otherwise, material nature is going to impose tapatraya, so many kinds of difficulties. That is her jurisdiction. You can't violate the laws of material nature. So why should we violate Krishna's laws? Only in this lifetime we can surrender to Lord Krishna. There is no other opportunity going to come. Any other question? He is never a true enjoyer. He is in imitation of the Lord. So he wants to become the demigod even. He wants to become God himself. What an illusion. Last snare of Maya is to become God. All right. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki